It's not. I'm sorry. It's not a movement. It's a what?
Or it's not a protest. It's a process. We're trying to create a process for a more democratic society, and that's also an anarchist idea that in order to change society, you have to change the very the bonds of that society. You have to the social relationships in that society. That's something that Leo Tolstoy says, is that everyone wants to change humanity. Well, I'm paraphrasing, but not many people want to actually change themselves, change the human beings. And that's what, so that's the self-reflection, is that Occupy, we're having a lot more effort projecting our criticisms on an external society, and not that much effort looking inwards and trying to change ourselves, when really we're not removed from that society. We're all a part of that society, and external critique has to include internal critique. And that's where art comes in. I think art holds up a mirror. So that's what my work and other people who are having really interesting discussions are trying to hold up that mirror to Occupy Wall Street. So that way, if we are replicating these power structures and bringing this baggage from the old, ugly society into this new space that we're creating, this opportunity we've given ourselves to have this discussion, we can recognize it and we can start working on it. And so, and I mean, this is a conversation that's been going on throughout history. The Merchant of Venice, just, and I think I summarize it as objectification. When you don't see that person, you don't see that other individual who deserves human rights and dignity, and you just see like an object, like you see lumber instead of trees, you see meat instead of animals, you see like a black person or like a racial epithet instead of a person. You see like a like that's where like the anti-Semitism, anti-Arabism, anti-communism, anti-whatever. It's just an excuse to objectify the other person, and the counter to that would be love. And so more loving relationships and more healthy communication. And it's a real simple thing to say that this whole Occupy movement was about creating alternative ways to communicate, or healthier communication patterns in society at the very basic social level. That makes a lot more sense to me and seems like a lot easier thing to promote. Upon that, we can maybe build complexity of actions and everything. But if we forget that little kernel, then everything it seems like that you're doing built up upon that is going to be useless, because you just approach this movement, and at the very end you're just petitioning power, because these power structures are built upon a different type of relationship of you vesting someone else with your democratic authority. You're vesting representative democracy. You're vesting the owners of capital. You're not really questioning the power structures of your economy. And you're investing organizers of the movement, because you're not really a part of the organization, because the movement has lost its direct democratic push. And that's what we'll see later on. I mean, we'll talk to other people, we'll ask them and stuff in Occupy Wall Street, but that's where the elitism comes in. Is that from the very beginning I noticed that there was a push to like, and the people, they might have best of intentions to sort of direct this movement, steer it, control it. But, and that's another anarchist principle, if the means aren't in alignment with the ends, if how you're creating the revolution aren't with revolutionary tactics, then you're just going to mirror power structures. You're just replicating the society you're criticizing. So if we don't create the movement through direct democracy, through consensus, then it doesn't matter how efficient we are at protesting like May Day, all these other actions, because in the end we're just going to create a bureaucratic system. And that's what sort of some people notice. How do you not? That's really hard. That's what a lot of movements have gone through. How do you not create a movement of bureaucracy and elitism? But that's the most important question we should be talking about. That's a discussion we should be having. And that's a void that we're stepping into here. It's going to be interesting. I mean, I just summarized the points we're going to talk to Homeboy about. He has some interesting views on it, because he thinks that we can work with some of the money people and with some of the organizers without being completely co-opted. We'll talk about that. So I mean, I'm a pretty hard stance. I'm like, I can't work with that type of ideology. I just unless it's good from the ground up, completely inclusive, but then you can't be perfect. You know, you can't have total inclusivity. So the truth lies somewhere in between, I think. Oh, you know what? I could grab that Leo Tolstoy quote. Hold up a sec, because this is online. Yeah, we could have just 5 hours of me talking.
We should find that book. We should find one of his books, and we could put that in B-roll, like
Leo Tolstoy?
as you're talking
oh, fuck
about
yeah.
it.
That'd be fucking awesome.